Good morning from a rather cloudy Sydney. This is Sage bringing you the morning outlook, market forecast for Friday, January 7th, 2022 by Kalkine Media. And the ASX is set to open higher by about 1.5% to reach 6,642. This follows a strong trade on Wall Street on news of the Democrats gaining traction to gain control of the Senate. The Dow and the S&P 500 have reached record highs. The Dow rose more than 400 points, and we're seeing the investors move towards the financial and industrial stocks as more economic stimulus is due if the Democrats win in the US. However, the gains were capped after protesters overran the Capitol building during the Electoral College vote count, causing damage. And this breach caused a halt to the formal congressional count of the President-elect Joe Biden's presidential election victory over Trump. US share markets were weaker again on Thursday as investors responded to fears that interest rates could rise earlier than expected. The S&P Financials Index rose 1.5% and the energy sector rose 2.3%, but technology lost 0.5%. Investors seem poised for today's December US non-farm payrolls. A 400,000 lift in jobs is expected in the US. And the Dow Jones Index fell by 171 points or 0.5%. The S&P 500 Index fell by 0.1%. The Nasdaq Index fell as well by 19 points or 0.1%. In US economic data, the US ISM Services Purchasing Managers Index fell from 69.1 to 62 in December. Factory orders rose by 1.6% in November, according to Challenger. Job cuts totaled 19,052 in December. New claims for unemployment insurance rose by 7,000 in the past week to 207,000. On to the European share markets. They fell on Thursday on fears that the US Federal Reserve may raise rates sooner than expected. Technology led the declines, down 2.4%, but banks rose 1.1%, with insurance up 0.2%. And the Pan-European Stock 600 Index fell 1.3% from record highs. German DAX Index lost 1.4%. The UK FTSE Index fell 0.9%. In the London trade, shares in Rio Tinto rose 0.9%, but shares in BHP lost 1%. The global oil prices were higher by 1.5 to 2.1% on Thursday, and the oil production continues to be disrupted in Libya. And there were fears that production could be disrupted in Kazakhstan as well. Russia has sent paratroopers into Kazakhstan on Thursday to help quell a countrywide uprising. The Brent crude price rose by $1.19 US or 1.5% to reach $81.99 a barrel. And it was reported by the New York Times that OPEC and Russia and other oil producers agreed to continue their program for February of gradual monthly output increases on Tuesday. This will bolster the output by 400,000 barrels a day, although there is looming doubts on whether they will deliver on the promise. The LNG or liquid natural gas demand from Europe and Asia remains historically high, and US producers have been boosting LNG exports to Europe. After lingering cold since the 1st of January 2022 has continued to cause well freeze-offs in many states, including Texas, New Mexico and Ohio, plus others. The United States will be the biggest exporter of liquid natural gas in the world through 2022 as a whole, according to forecasts from ICIS and the US Energy Information Agency, as the country's production and storage remain elevated. The base metal prices were weaker on Thursday by between 0.1 to 1.7%, with aluminium down the least and copper down the most, but lead bucked the trend up 0.8%. And on to the gold futures. And the futures price fell by $35.90 or 2% on Thursday to reach $1,789 20 an ounce, and spot gold was trading near $1,788 an ounce at the US close. Iron ore rose by $2.90 US or 2.3% to reach $128 25 a tonne. And the Australian 10-year bond yields were at over 1-month highs. The yield on the Australian 10-year government bond extended gains to climb above 1.8% in early January, touching its highest level since late November and tracking a general rise in the US Treasury yields amid expectations of quicker interest rate hikes. And ExxonMobil this week said it made 2 oil discoveries at Fangtooth 1 and Lau Lau 1 in the Starbroek block offshore Guyana. These discoveries will add to the previously announced recoverable resource estimate for the block of 10 billion oil equivalent barrels. And as we reach the end of the report, the SARS-CoV-2 virus has caused the deaths of more than 800,000 people in the United States and more than 5 million globally. Despite the worldwide efforts, a strong medical need remains for a safe and effective remedy to this virus, and the continuing emergence of new variants that challenge the existing therapies further underscores the need for additional treatments. Clear Creek Bio Inc. announced today that the company has signed a cooperative research and development agreement with the National Centre for Advancing Translational Sciences at the National Institutes of Health to identify and develop a SARS-CoV-2 papain-like protease, or PL-PRO, inhibitor. A PL-PRO is an essential coronavirus enzyme involved in viral replication and regulates host innate immune responses to viral infections. And the potent PL-PRO inhibitors developed by Clear Creek Bio have attractive drug properties. And this CRADA will support development of the most promising candidates, including completing IND-enabling studies. So we'll keep you posted on any updates from them, and I hope their dedication and work pays off to come up with a cure for COVID-19. That's all for the Morning Outlook today, but keep watching Kalkine TV for more of the market-related hot trends. This is Sage signing off for now.